Good evening and welcome to Sporlitiks, where sports and politics mix and mingle. I'm Stacy Johnson. Joining me tonight is Stephen, the independent thinker, Keith, the constitutional conservative, and my cousin Todd. Aguna is off, but we've got a lot to talk about. Allegedly, Mark Meadows, former President Trump's chief of staff, is given immunity in a case against Donald Trump in a New York court, according to ABC News. Mike Johnson, Republican from Louisiana, is the new Speaker of the House today. Attacks on U.S. troops in the Middle East ramp up as Israel conflict escalates. This episode adds a dangerous new element to the fighting in Gaza and deepens fears that Iran might take a more regional approach to fomenting the violence. The World Series, well, the Phillies aren't in it, so I don't care. Michael, I already said Michael Johnson is the new speaker, right?
Yep.
Do you know anything about him? College football, how did your team do? We'll talk about that. Murder and other charges reinstated against Philadelphia officer who shot Eddie Azari, and 24 U.S. service members injured in October 18th attacks in Iraq and Syria. New York judge suggests that Trump again violated gag order. He said he didn't want anyone killed, and he fined Trump $10,000 today. NASCAR with Stephen. Representative Bowman charged today with pulling the fire alarm in the House office building when there wasn't an emergency. That and more, if we can fit it in. First up, Stephen with NASCAR. Stephen, you said you were going to talk about what with NASCAR?
Well, Christopher Bell is it's two races left. There's a championship going on, and he is guaranteed his place in the top four for the next race. So if he wrecks on the first lap, it doesn't matter. He's guaranteed. He didn't even have to start his car. He's going to be in the next race. He's going to be in the top four, and it's going to be four of them running for the championship. And at Bell, because he won at Las Vegas last week, that's his ticket in. So now he's first in points, and he won this race here at Martinsville last year. So it's a good race for him. And if he continues, of course he wants to get his points higher than everybody else, but he's going to do well. But he's in, so he looks like he's going to win. It won't be his first time. It's fine, but I kind of hope anybody else basically jumps in and wins. Anybody. So that's.
Well, why do you hope anybody else? While Keith is sitting there eating nuts, like
I mean, anybody else.
Let's go ahead and
that,
eat nuts. Keith. Who else is in the race?
I'll rephrase it. Chris Buescher has never won before. It'd be nice to have a first-time champion. The problem is he's in 8th place. But the good thing is these numbers are so close to each other. If he wins a race or wins two, he's in it. I mean, if he wins this race, he'll probably make the top four.
And what about Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson?
Kyle Larson is in second, and William Byron third, Blaney fourth, Tyler Riddick fifth, Truex is in sixth, Denny Hamlin's in seventh, and Buescher is in eighth, which is really last place because everybody else that's racing, they're racing, for a win. They're racing for, a good standing. But these guys are in the championship. So anybody else could win it. It would be like Ty Riddick. He's never won it before. Chris Buescher. He's never won it before. It would be nice to have somebody, or Blaney. I don't think Blaney hasn't won. So it'd be nice to have one of these people who's never won. But it's probably going to be Larson or Bell, depending on what happens, in this next race. It'll more determined. But it's close. This is what the good thing about the playoffs is. Nobody can run away with it. It's right there.
Right.
It's anybody's game right now in the top 8. So it's going to be
All
interesting.
right.
Martinsville's a fun race.
So let's talk about the World Series. The Phillies lost in the last game last night. I was ticked off. They allowed Arizona Diamondbacks to steal about 4 bases like they did in game 5. What do you think was the problem, Cousin Todd, that the Phillies couldn't carry it off?
Well, they probably couldn't carry it off because they didn't have good linebackers.
Right.
But the thing is here, I think next year they'll take it all the way to the Super Bowl.
Hmm. But you just got to hope.
Yeah,
Hope
keep
and
your
pray.
fingers crossed.
Anyway, what is happening with your team? Let's go to Cousin Todd again. What's happening with your team in the NFL, Cousin Todd?
Well, to be very honest with you, I think they still have a chance. You've got to admit the Flyers are pretty good. And once they get good forwards and um, I think they'll be able to take on the Bucks, and I think we stand a good chance to win World Series. America first.
Right on.
And
I
what
hope an
is
Now, what's
American
Mel?
funny
team
about
wins.
that?
I hope
What's
an
You know
Mel
what's
American
really
doing?
team
funny about
wins.
that? Don't you
What's
think what's funny about that, Stephen, is he said one thing right. He said that the Flyers have forwards, and he didn't
Oh,
even know the Flyers have forwards. He doesn't
I
wow?
bet
even
he
know
does.
hockey players are, they're forwards with hockey players. But he was supposed to be
Mm.
talking about the NFL,
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
talking about the
Yeah,
I
NHL,
got a, I got a
and then he
question
talked
though.
about
he's a winner.
I got a question about the in the game. I saw what is with the referees that don't call face mask violations.
maybe
You
they
know
Wait,
the
didn't see
face,
it.
huh?
wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Maybe
Wait,
they didn't
Keith,
see it.
hold it. You're the
I don't know
same
why they don't
person.
see it.
You're the same person that said, "Oh, football is like for sissies now. You can't do anything." See, back in the good old days when you came up in the 30s, you could
The
do
30s.
anything, and you said they were
That's
better
true.
then. Now
Yeah,
they're so timid, you can't do anything. Now you're flipping, typical Trump
no,
supporter, and
no, I'm
saying,
not
"Hey, why don't
flipping.
they call mask pulling now?"
No, I'm not full. I'm not flipping because that is illegal. I'm not talking about illegal stuff. Everything they did back in the day, those were legal at the time. They didn't have all these rules. So now they have rules. And that's all I'm saying. Right, Stephen? You know.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
they're just trying to keep people a little bit more healthy now. But the problem is these people are 10 times better shape than the guys back in the old days. And when they hit each other, and if they did play without rules like that, people would be dead. People would be dying almost every week probably. So they have to make rules to try to protect people. Now that doesn't mean the people playing are any weaker or more slight than the ones who played before. You have to be tough to play the sport, no matter what era. So I think to
yeah,
compare them is kind of off comparison because they're all tough guys out there, and except the
yeah.
kicker,
Okay, so
most of them.
speak about your team, the Washington Commanders, Stephen.
Well, they put up a good fight, and then they went out on the field and played the game and lost. But before they went out, when they were in the locker room, they had a fight. So they put up a good fight in the locker room, but that didn't carry on to the field. But this week, I'm expecting a win, a dominant win, a win that will determine the end of this season and who's in the playoffs and where they're seated. Our opponent is good; they're pretty good, but they're in our division, and we know how to play them. It's going to be a close game. I'm at least taking the Washington team plus the 6 or maybe 6.5 now, and depending on where you are. But I'll take my Washington team with the points, and with the caveat that Eagles is due for a sour loss because everybody else has had them really except them for
we
a
are
while.
we already had a sour loss to the Jets, and that was quite enough for us. If you can see the screen, you see that the Commanders' schedule is with the Eagles Sunday, October 29th.
Oh, that's right, playing
Um,
the Eagles. Yeah,
The Redskins,
the
Redskins.
Redskins.
Yeah.
and we should definitely the Eagles should definitely beat the Commanders, the Washington Commanders. They have a new name. You have to respect the new name.
No, it's going to be like 80 degrees. And, the Eagles, it's really cold out there pretty much in Philly. So when they come out here, it's going to be like going down and playing Miami. Yeah, it's going to be a whole different ball game for them. I really would not get my hopes up too high for this game because I really think it's going Washington's way at least with the points. At least with the points. I think it's going to be a good game. And there's a little something wrong with Hurts, right? Isn't he hurt?
There's nothing wrong with Hurts. He had a knee brace on, and he said he'll be just fine. There's nothing wrong with it. He probably, just sprained his knee. You know how people do. They just sprain their knee, no big deal. So if you look at the screen, I've
How
got
do you know he sprained his knee?
I'm guessing he sprained his knee because he had a brace on and he never said what exactly happened to his knee. But let's look that up to know for sure.
I mean, anything could have. I mean, he could have got breast implants or anything. So you never know.
Oh gosh!
Could have got a butt lift. He gets those on the goal line. But they call it a tush push. They call it a tush push.
Oh
you would know.
No, he's right. Yeah. It is a tush push, and that's a play, Todd, that he's talking about that the Eagles do better than any NFL team in the league.
Duh. That's why I said you would know.
Okay. All right. Maybe that's how he hurt his knee. They were pushing too hard back there. He hurt his knee.
Yeah, I think maybe sometimes they do
you would know.
Push too hard.
Right. But he's a tough dude. He can squat over 600 pounds. That for a quarterback is ridiculous. He could play. He has
that. It's almost like a gift that Jalen Hurts has to be able to lift like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. He's in good shape.
Almost like a gift.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in great.
All
right, let's move on. They didn't say what his. I was looking. They didn't say what his knee injury was. I keep looking and I don't see it.
Yeah.
Do anyone want to talk about college football?
Yes. Can we talk about? Oh.
You want to talk about college football?
Yeah. I think the Dolphins are in it to win it. I think they'll take it all the way. But then again, you got to watch out for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh Steelers, they may do damage. So we'll just have to wait and see. But one or the other team is going to take it all the way to the Stanley Cup. America first.
Now, why I do that is so funny because whenever Todd talks about sports, you get nothing from it.
I got something from that.
Are you kidding me?
From that?
Yeah.
I'll have to argue.
First. America.
I have to argue with you. I got a nice word salad out of that.
Yeah, America first.
America first.
That's right, Stacey.
Well, that's right. If we say America first, you might as well be saying amen.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me see. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything else.
Stacey, can I talk about college football?
Yeah, go ahead.
We already discussed that.
Oh, the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right. No, UVA and North Carolina played Saturday night, and North Carolina was 6-0. UVA was 1-5, and they were a 23-point underdog. So you have to take 23 points. These teams know each other well. But the kicker, and I don't mean the kicker on either team, but the kicker is UVA beat them straight up, straight up and down on the field. Fair and square, UVA beat North Carolina, the 6-0 seeded, to the unseeded UVA team that everybody gave up on. So that's great. That's great for the school. Now they're 2-5, and maybe they can put some wins together. Because if they could beat North Carolina, they could be a lot of teams. I think North Carolina was ranked 10th at the time. I think they ought to just take them off the whole board, just put them at about 60 or something. But that was a really great game. It's really nice. It took me about an hour to chill out after that game, jumping up and down and screaming. That was a fun game. That's what college football can be fun. Huh?
They may have won that game, but there's no way they can beat the
Eagles.
Dodgers.
Can't think
you
of
know
some
what?
other
And
type of
state
team, Todd. Like, why don't you say something like the Philadelphia,
I said the Dodgers.
Penguins.
no, you could say something like what's this Philadelphia soccer team? You
I
should say
don't need
something
any
like that,
help. You
Todd.
you can't even think of the
The
name of the
Thunderclaps.
soccer
Hey,
team.
I can't even
Stacy,
think of the name of the soccer
Yeah,
team, the
because you
Philadelphia
don't know anything
soccer
about
team.
I think
sports.
it's Philadelphia Thunderclaps. But
No, it's
Stacy,
not. It's the
that's
Philadelphia
why.
Union.
Okay, but
Nut
that's why
jobs.
Washington has a good chance this week, because if UVA can take down North Carolina and 23-point underdog, then a 6-point underdog can win this game against Philadelphia. You feeling
All
it?
right, so
But you have enough of a
I'm feeling
cushion.
it.
Y'all can lose one more game.
Right, I'm feeling it. So if you look at this screen, you see it's the Philadelphia Union faces New England Saturday, October 28th. Now, Todd, now you know it's the Union, cousin Todd. So next time when you want to make a joke about sports because you don't
I'm,
know anything about
I
sports,
don't make
why don't you include
jokes.
the Philadelphia soccer team?
I
I didn't
don't
know it.
make jokes about sports. I'm very serious when it comes to my sports. Moving on.
Moving on, we have a new U.S. Speaker of the House. He is now able to help fund Israel and the Israel-Hamas war. Congressman Mike Johnson, if you look at the screen, that's him, his wife, and his children. He's a Republican from Louisiana, about 51 years old. Let's start with Keith. Uh, Congressman Johnson believed that the 2020 election was rigged and that Donald Trump won. How is he going to be able to cross the aisle and help avert a government shutdown in less than a few weeks?
The way you
Well,
phrased that question, you should have said after 61 judges determined he did not win, and
No, they
after
didn't.
his attorney general determined he did not win, and various other people determined officials determined he did not win. Why is it that he would continue to say Donald Trump won? That's the question.
that's
Because
not the
it hasn't
question.
been proven.
Is that the question, Stacy, or what?
The question was what my first question was.
All right. Look, I don't know I don't know why we keep relating the two, because January 6th happened. That's 2020. We're in 2023. So I don't know why they keep referring back to the January 6th, when they never really
Insurrection.
looked at it. They never fully investigated it. And all that
It-
BS, all that
No, they're
BS about
investigating.
judges, judges
I mean,
simply
really.
never looked at it. They just rejected it. They
That's
rejected
true.
the case. And Stephen knows that. Stephen and I
Right.
both agree. And
Wait,
that's
they
the
didn't.
truth about it. You're just
What do you mean they didn't examine it?
they
What does
didn't
that mean?
they did not examine the evidence. They
There
did
was
not.
no
They
evidence.
wouldn't
They
even
were
look at it. They
corrupt.
wouldn't
There's
Listen,
hear
plenty
it.
of evidence. It's all
They
corrupt.
would not hear it.
okay, let me
It's all
just tell you
corrupt.
how a
They would
court
not
system
hear it.
works. I
It's
know you
corrupt.
don't know how a court system
Yeah.
works,
It's
but you
corrupt.
have to present evidence in a court of law. For
It's
example,
corrupt.
And
I
they wouldn't
cannot
take it.
go into
Oh,
I
you just
cannot
said
go
it.
into court and
All
say
right.
to the judge, Stephen raped his girlfriend Angela.
But they never went
The
to court.
judge would say, I
Why does
need
it always
proof.
have to come down to me raping somebody,
Are
Todd?
you
What?
listening? Are you listening, Todd? I said
I
they
would have
never
to
went
have
to
proof.
court.
I can't
The
just make
judges
up
never
something like that.
the judges
Nobody's
would
making up
never not
anything.
hear
And
it.
that man's entitled to his opinion. And if
Thank
somebody has a
you.
problem with it, he may have a problem with their opinion. Maybe somebody else on his level thinks it's okay to kill a baby after they're born.
That's
But
right.
that's their opinion. What if they were the Speaker of the House? We don't
That's
have a
right.
problem with that. People have the right to their
Abortion
opinion.
is
And he
legal.
shouldn't be beat down because he
Abortion
thinks,
is
you know
legal.
what?
Insurrection is
Probably over
illegal.
half of the people think that there was something wrong with the election. And a lot of people, 40-50%, think
That's
this
because
election was
Donald
stolen.
Trump kept
Not
telling
because,
you that
no,
something was
I'm
wrong
not
with the
I'm a never
election.
Trumper.
Donald
But
Trump kept telling you
Hillary
that.
Clinton
That's
said
why
that
you think so.
Hillary Clinton said her election was stolen from her. Does everybody around her get
That's right.
penalized? Does she get
No.
penalized? No, people
she
have a
did
right
not
to their
say.
opinion, Todd. You're
Then
being
you just
ridiculous.
lied on
People
Hillary
can't
Clinton.
stop with
She
Trump
never
because
said the
Trump is the
election
only
was
thing that will stop these
stolen from
people.
her.
People can't stop with Trump because Trump is the only one that's going to stop these people. And that y'all are
Stop
making
what
him
people?
more
Stop
dangerous
what
than
people?
he ever
Stop
could
what
be in your
people?
imagination.
Stop what
You're making him
people?
more powerful.
Okay, you're
He'll be
just
the
babbling. You're
all-powerful
not saying
Oz by
anything.
the time it comes around. Because
Okay,
nobody believes y'all's crap anymore, man.
okay,
Nobody does. Not even
right.
liberals, not
And
even
this is
real
the
liberals believe
dangerous
y'all's
thing
crap.
when
And
Everybody
Todd
knows.
and
people
Steven,
can't
Everybody knows,
Todd,
Todd. It's
Todd,
distinguish
nothing to
truth
talk
was
between a
about.
never,
lie.
you
That's
know, it
when you
was
know
never
America has
resolved.
gone
It was
down.
never, it was
One at a
never
time, one at a
resolved.
time.
It will be.
Yeah, let me just say this. It was never resolved that the states illegally or unconstitutionally changed election laws right on the very
Okay,
same day
that
of
was not my
voting.
question.
No,
Okay,
I
that
don't.
wasn't my
I'm just
question.
There
answering
So
was
Todd.
Stephen,
Todd,
let me go to my question. My
We
question
said,
there
was,
was a
how would he
pandemic.
be able to,
how
how
were
would he be
the,
able to work with other
excuse me?
people? How
No,
would he
I
be
have
able
a
to work
different
with the
question.
left?
I
Okay,
got a different question now. My
okay.
next question is, from the last last representatives who attempted to get the speakership position
Oh my
were
gosh.
unable to. Why is it that Mike Johnson was able to, and Steve
How would
Scalise
he
from
know?
Louisiana, and Jim Jordan was not able to get it? Why is that,
I
Stephen?
mean, it's just how everybody was working, and this went into like a private vote, private session. But what they ended up
It
doing
was
was
all
they
private
cut out.
session.
No, it was public too. They cut
Ballot.
out. They cut
It
out.
was
What was it? What was his face? Who was the speaker? Todd. Who was the speaker that's gone
who
now? What was his
is
name?
the speaker? Who
Who
was the
was the
speaker?
Who was the
McCarthy.
speaker? McCarthy.
McCarthy was the
Okay,
speaker.
McCarthy's gone. We have
McCarthy.
the opposite. We have the opposite of McCarthy now. We have a good guy. We have a guy that is
A good
America
guy.
first.
Wait,
We have
what
a
makes
guy who wants justice
wait?
in this world, that believes
McCarthy's
in
not a
justice.
good guy.
You know what? The left over there are shaking right now. They're really
Can you
shaking
tell
because
me?
he's a good
Okay,
guy.
okay. We know we're shaking. Everybody's shaking. Just let's make some points here. Was McCarthy a good guy or a bad guy?
He was
I
not on
think he
our
was a
side.
good guy. I think he
He was
was
a
a good
good guy, but he wasn't on our side.
What does
He's
that
not on
mean?
the side. He's
What does that mean in English?
which means that he was more of a wolf in sheep's clothing. He didn't
Oh
look out for
gosh.
America. He didn't look out for our interests,
But
the
I feel
people,
like you're
the
not answering my
populace,
question.
the
What?
pop. He
What?
didn't.
Say
Would
let
you
him.
all
Well,
just
he
answer my
jumped in.
question? Don't let him
No.
jump in. Stop jumping in, cousin Todd.
Okay. All
Stephen,
right.
answer the question, please.
Give me the question again, please. Todd's got me
All right.
all bent.
Well,
She's saying,
Nas is
how did
here
he
now.
get this position and Jordan did
And
not?
Scalise and Jordan did not get the position.
Let's-
How did Johnson get it and the other two did not?
As if you can answer
Because
that.
he got the amount of votes that you need to win.
But how
Or
did he get those amount of votes to win when
How do we
Jim
know?
Jordan thought he had gotten that? Well, then what you
Who
doing on the
knows?
show if you don't know or can't
oh,
can't
Well, we
speculate?
well,
don't know
I
what goes
can.
on in those
I mean,
I can
backroom
anybody can
deals.
speculate.
speculate, but
They have
what
lawyers.
happened is, I guess, you know what happened was, I think Donald Trump the day before talked to a couple people and let them know who's in charge of the Republican Party right now, and it's Trump, and it's our movement. And we don't love everything
Our
about Trump,
movement.
but he's better than the Rhino Republicans. He's
What?
a populist. He has
I'm a
done
never
stuff for us.
Trumper. Our
Trump has
people.
done stuff for all people.
Do you mean
Now
Trump's people or
He
white
screwed up
people
with
or what?
Fauci and all that. I got my problems with Trump, but he's better than anything you have, or better than most things that the Republicans have, because he's neither. He's an independent. He's really an
Okay.
independent,
Okay.
and
All
Thank
right.
you,
he
cousin
told
Todd.
these guys that's why the other guys didn't win. He said, "You better vote this way because the people are behind me. Look at my numbers. You don't do what I want you to do, then y'all gonna all be screwed up. I'm gonna make
Well,
sure that
then
happens."
isn't that
That's
a
what he is,
dictatorship?
the boss. Trump is the
Okay,
boss.
that's what you call a dictatorship. But
I'm saying if y'all ain't careful, y'all might end up with one. If y'all ain't careful,
Go ahead,
because
cousin
y'all are
Todd.
making him so powerful. Every
y'all are making
right-thinking,
him.
decent, independent thinking person understands this country's not going the right way. We all get that. Don't matter who you are. You have to
Go ahead, cousin
understand
Todd.
Okay.
your side
All right.
sucks.
Okay. All right.
Right.
So now, why did Johnson get this position over Jim Jordan? I don't know. Maybe he's great in bed.
I
That's
have
probably
a
more
theory.
accurate than what I said. That's
Look,
probably more
I
accurate.
have a theory. I think that
All
Jim
right, and then
Jordan.
I got to get Nas in.
Okay, Jim Jordan is definitely a constitutional conservative and a Christian, just like Johnson
How would
claims to
you
be.
know?
We have yet to see. I don't know. We'll
How
see
would you
how he
know
does.
that
So,
these people are Christian? You know what
So
they
this guy
do?
here,
well,
Keith,
let
You're
me
gonna like this
explain.
guy.
Let
You're
me
gonna like him.
explain. Let me
One at a
finish.
time.
I'll
Can
just
can
say,
he finish? Yeah.
I'm trying to hurry up. I'm trying to hurry up, Stacy. I just want to say that Jordan has already proven. I mean, he's been on those committees and he's been at those hearings. He took on
What
Liz Cheney.
hearings?
He took them on and he did the right thing. And
And that
yet,
makes him
it
a
was a little bit,
Christian.
hold on, he was a little abrasive
Todd.
to the left. The liberal Republicans, there are plenty of them, that they're very much a rhino and they're liberal. So they, chose not him because he was a little bit too abrasive for them. He's a little bit too tough. He's too tough for them. Now, Johnson, if you notice, his demeanor is a little bit softer, but we'll see how he does.
Okay.
You're
His
gonna love
demeanor
him.
is a little softer.
Nas.
I think you're
Nas,
gonna love him.
welcome to Sporlitiks,
Yeah,
where sports
I
and
like him.
politics
I
mix
like
and
him
mingle.
already. I like him,
Nas, how
Steve.
was Mike Johnson able to get in where Scalise and Jordan and McCarthy couldn't? And Mike Johnson also can be voted out in one vote, and he can be out just like that.
Yeah. I mean, this is going to be interesting, but basically, you got competing factions. Anytime a party is having trouble coming to consensus on things in the way that they are, you're looking at. You got the Trump faction, you've got the more old school Republican faction, and then you have the independents within that party. So when you have problems like that in trying to make decisions, what's going to end up happening is not only are you going to kind of fight each other at every turn, but it's hard to get anything done because you see everybody as an adversary. So it's hard to even, after all this is over, think about the people who are going to say, this guy promised he was going to vote for X, Y, and Z, and then he went in that room and changed it, and now they've got a beef. Well, that's going to show itself when they try to legislate in other ways, because people are going to remember the people who lied to them, the people who flipped on them when they went in that back room. So yeah, this is a really bad indictment of this era of the Republican Party. Now, Trump is not only leading as far as the number one guy within the party, but the problem is his slice is not big enough to really dominate the party, which is why they're all just sitting, waiting with bated breath to see how his mini court cases go. Because if he falls due to criminal activity, then who steps up as the next person? And everybody is looking at each other as an adversary. So yeah, you can't put a coalition together. So this is a problem with governing. And real quick on Jim Jordan, remember, look up his congressional record. He has never passed a piece of legislation by himself or, of course, co-sponsored a piece of legislation. Never. All he's done is sound bites and these moments where they see him angry on TV yelling at liberals, and people take that as governing. So there you go.
And
Isn't
nor
that
has
a
this little
problem?
new
Because
guy, Johnson, he's been in there 15 minutes. He's never done anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, isn't the job, let me ask Keith, isn't the job of congressional House members to legislate and pass legislation, Keith?
Yes, but when a bill is full of pork, like all the bills that come down, that is not legislating. When you have bills that have all of these different types of perks, this is not good, and that's all we ever
Yeah,
get
but what does
from
that have
them.
to do with? But you're talking about? That's what you get from Democrats. But my question was about Mike Johnson. It was about Jim Jordan.
Yeah,
About
okay.
them
Well,
sponsoring. Wait a minute. About them sponsoring legislation because they're there to legislate. So to say that there is a bunch of pork in the bill, they didn't even sponsor anything for there to be any pork in
okay.
it.
All
So my
right.
question
No,
is,
Let me answer it
because
this
why
they're
way.
not
Let
aren't
me
they
there
answer
to
it this
do
way.
that.
sponsoring?
All right, let
Why
me
aren't
answer
they
it this way.
legislating? Because that is, wait a minute, let me finish. That is the body of government that handles legislation.
All right. Legislation does not require sponsoring. It requires voting. That's what legislating is. If I'm a senator or if I'm a representative, I am in the Congress, I vote That's all that is required of me. It is not required of me to write legislation and submit it or any of that. That's not really required of me. No, not as a basic, representative.
Okay.
They are voting. You don't know how they vote on everything, but
Yeah,
they
no,
vote,
we can read their
and that's
voting
good
records.
enough. That's
But
good enough
why
for
why
me.
would you send somebody to Washington that wouldn't present your ideals or try to push your ideas forward? If
They
you've got a
present
MAGA,
my ideas by voting.
if you
They
got
vote.
if you got a MAGA
They
agenda
vote.
and you send somebody to DC, you would expect that person to be able to pass some parts of that MAGA
No,
agenda.
I expect that person to vote.
If they never propose anything, what they're actually doing is grifting.
That doesn't bother me.
They're basically doing culture war arguments, but not
Sorry,
doing
sir.
anything to advance
Yeah.
the ideology they
No.
claim to,
No.
claim to be for. So yeah,
I guarantee you
it's terrible.
that Republicans that I talk to, I'm talking about conservatives, Christian, whatever you want to call us, MAGA, we are not that concerned about how much they submit in terms of what you're talking about. We are concerned that they
You
You
vote
mean the
policy
on the
actual
ideas.
right
job?
side.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
you mean the
They
actual
vote.
job.
So that's
Okay,
enough.
let me.
So basically,
We
you
have
want
a
to
different view, and
cosplay
that's the way it
politician.
is.
So
You
you
have
want
a
to
different
cosplay
view.
politician. No, that's
You
not a
have a
view.
different view.
That's not a
No,
view.
you have a different view.
That's
You
not
have
a
a
view.
Okay,
different view.
excuse me. If you look at the screen, this is the legislative process from the United States House of Representatives. The legislative process, all legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States, which shall consist of a Senate and a House of Representatives. Laws begin as ideas. First, a representative sponsors a bill. So it seems like to me, if I live in a district, which I do, we all live in districts, congressional districts, and we may want a law done and that would help our district or a district that is really close to us. So we would want the people that we voted for and sent to the House to be able to do something
To come up
for
with
us on
ideas
a
that
federal level, not a state level, but a federal level. Therefore, that is a part of the job. And for them not to do that, I think, Stephen, is a problem.
And
well,
No.
see,
what is
and so he must be the only one then, right, Stacy?
No,
Thank you.
He's
no,
not the only one.
no, he's not.
he's the speaker of the
He's
House.
not.
These people are
He's not
trying
the
to be,
speaker. Well,
yeah,
he's
they
not
were
trying to be the
running to be
speaker.
speaker.
Yeah, but he's not the speaker. So
Yeah, he didn't make it. And
Mike
the speaker
Johnson
you
is the
have
speaker.
now, and the speaker you have now has passed nothing as well. Now,
like
what
he
is this?
said, it doesn't. We don't
It
care.
doesn't
It doesn't
matter. I
bother.
don't care
Well,
what
Doesn't
he
maybe
matter.
No,
maybe
it
says.
because
doesn't.
your guys are getting stuff passed because y'all putting so much pork in it and
Yeah,
passing
Okay.
stuff that's not good for the country. I'd rather
that's
have
right.
somebody not pass stuff that's not good for the country than y'all passing a bunch of pork and
Okay.
making it worse for
So
us.
then they're
What
not
can
making
he do that's
America
going to be
work.
good for the people that
Yeah.
people are going to let him do?
What? Okay.
Even
Answer
though
me
they have the
this.
majority, they really don't.
What is your
Okay, one at a
platform?
time.
What is the platform of the Republican Party?
The platform.
Yeah.
What is the platform of the Democrat Party? That's what you should
Okay.
be
All
asking.
right.
You don't care.
I'll answer my question.
You don't care.
The
Read the Communist
platform for the
Manifesto.
Republican Party is
Watch
no
it, Todd. You better
blacks,
know who you are.
no Jews, no
Wrong.
gays.
Wrong.
What?
Wrong.
So what all they talk about is culture wars.
No,
They're
that's
not
not true.
all
So
you
if you
talk
look at the
about is
screen,
gays, transgenders, you and Keith both. That's
so
all you
okay,
talk
look at the
about.
screen,
You
and it
don't
We're talking
says,
wait.
about
The
excuse me
transgender
again,
Democrats came
Todd.
up
children.
with a policy
I don't care
that
if a
would
man cuts
Excuse me,
his
lower
cousin
junk off.
Todd.
prescription drugs
There
Excuse
you
me,
go,
that
cousin
Todd.
Todd.
all Republicans voted against.
There it is,
The
Todd. There it
Republican
is.
National Committee says our platform, Republicans believe in liberty, economic prosperity, preserving American values and traditions, and restoring the American dream for every citizen of this great nation. As a
Every.
party, we support
Whoa,
policies that
whoa, whoa,
seek
whoa,
to
whoa.
achieve
Now,
those goals.
hold it.
There you
Hold
go.
it. Then why is it now? You got to repeat this because I can't read it because I can't see it. But wait, you've just contradicted yourself as a Republican. They didn't want gays in the military.
What is that? So
So read that again, Stacy.
Republicans believe in liberty, economic prosperity, preserving American values and traditions, and restoring the American dream for every citizen of this great nation. As a party, we support policies
Oh,
that seek to achieve
support for everybody.
those goals.
Yeah, well
Okay.
let me get in real quick. So basically that's a mission statement. It's the same thing you would see at your job. Hey, our job,
Pull up the Democrats.
a mission statement.
Next.
Now the issue with the mission statement is it's open-ended, it's not specific, it doesn't have anything tangible to it. There's nothing you could drop on your foot, so to say. So when you take a mission statement and try to translate it into real world terms, that's where the difficulty becomes with the Republican Party. And a lot of this is based on what happened after, the years of Alex Jones and all these guys on social media and then the internet that created this faction within the Republican Party. And I'm gonna give y'all an old name, well, not an old name, but a name a lot of people forgot. It's John Boehner. When John Boehner was running things for the Republican Party, he had this impossible job. He had this transcendent candidate in Obama who was really popular, and his job was basically to go against anything Obama was laying out, but he couldn't really present anything from the Republican side of views. Like he couldn't do, the old school Republican value stuff as far as a bill, like what was my man's name from Georgia with his family value thing, contract with America. Like he couldn't present
Newt Gingrich.
Newt Gingrich. He couldn't present anything like that because there was no faction that was together. So Boehner just kept losing and losing and losing, and people were getting mad at him when it's like, dude, how do you expect me to herd these cats? Because I've got factions that don't agree with each other. Y'all know what John Boehner is doing now? Him and his son-in-law have a marijuana business. That man is flying across the world, living his best life, and he don't want to hear nothing from none of you Republicans, Trumper or non-Trumper, because he figured it out. He's like, wait a minute, this is a losing game. They're actually asking me to go out and be a piñata, but they're not presenting anything that can actually encourage people to create a Republican coalition for the next century. So that's the difficulty right now. How do you put these things back together when one person is watching Tucker Carlson on the internet, and another guy is watching some YouTube person with 1 million conspiracies that they now believe are true? So that's the difficulty.
Like
and you saw
was
that with
rigged.
Jenna Ellis and the other people as they're now, committing to, they're going to be testifying against your boy Trump. They worked out some sweetheart deals in order to avoid jail time.
Oh, you're jumping up before we even get there. I gotta get there.
I'll in there. But you get the Boehner point I'm trying to make.
So, Representative Bowman, Jamal Bowman, as you see in this article by Hannah Rabinowitz and Haley Talbot, today, Wednesday, October 25th at 6:44 p.m., he was charged with pulling a fire alarm in the House office building when there wasn't an emergency. Cousin Todd, you talked about this before. Do you want to touch on this?
Yeah, I think he should be punished. Now, to what degree is to be determined, but you really can't do that. Now, see, the difference between me and Stephen and Keith is I don't flip-flop. Let me give an example. I asked Stephen and Keith, and you can go back and listen to the show, the Wednesday after the insurrection. And I said, were they wrong to do that? Stephen and Keith said, yeah, they shouldn't have done that.
Right.
But Stephen, of course, said, it was Black Lives Matter that did that. And on and on and on.
With a little bit of investigation, you can find that out. Yeah.
And so I said, okay, whoever did it,
FBI.
Shut up. I said, whoever did it, should they be punished? He said, yes. Stephen and Keith said, whoever did that should be punished. And then Keith went on to say his friend was there, but she did not break in the building. They should not have done that. So that's called an insurrection. Well, then
it's not. It's not an insurrection. They said it's not an insurrection. Right. You're telling lies now.
Shut up.
You're telling lies.
Trump said, boogly, 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 boo. Keith and Stephen flipped it and said, no, they shouldn't be charged with nothing.
You've seen the film. A lot of people were let in. That's not breaking in. When you open your door to let somebody in your house, they're not breaking and entering. Odd.
one last point I wanted to make was
It's all lies.
Todd.
You're
one
just
last
so
point.
misinformed or just a liar.
That
Either
nobody
way,
was
it's
let
pretty
in.
useless, Todd.
Nobody
Pretty
let
useless.
them in.
Pretty
So
useless.
anyway, when my point I was making last week about
You
I
never really
didn't
did answer the question or make a point about Representative Bowman other than he should take the punishment, but you never talked about what he did or why he did it.
he didn't never say why he did it. He said
You know
he
why
was
he did it.
trying to open. No, he was trying to
Fine.
get to a meeting and he was trying to unlock a door, is what he said. So he pulled the fire alarm. So there you have it. So I'm
That's
not
what I do
defending.
when I can't
Why
open
would
the door.
wait. Yeah, so why would a congressman, a House representative
Yes.
do that? If you've ever been to the Capitol, if you've ever been to the House and been from the House office buildings to the House floor where the legislation takes place, they have carte blanche. They wear a little lapel on their lapel. Everyone
Okay.
knows who they are.
Okay. What does
Wait,
that have
let
to
me
do with
finish.
the locked
The
door?
Capitol Hill Police, excuse me, the Capitol Hill Police, everyone knows who they are. They can go places where average people cannot
Why are you
go.
talking about?
Therefore, let
That's
me
not the
finish.
point.
Therefore, guess what? He didn't have to do that.
No.
He could have just said something to the Capitol Hill Police, and they would have got him right where he needed to go immediately.
All he needed was the door unlocked. Nobody was. Anyway, this is what he said. He said he was trying to get out this door because he had a meeting to get to. So anyway, I'm moving
You
on.
might as well talk about sports, Todd. If you're talking about this, you
Yeah,
might as
you
well
might
just
as
be
well.
talking
Okay.
about sports.
Yeah, Todd,
Hey,
you might as well
listen
say,
at these Trump supporters.
Nas.
I'm going to
Yeah,
finish
what
my
if you
Nas,
would?
point.
I might as well get you in here. Can you
I
straighten
want to
Todd out,
finish
Nas,
my
or do you want
point.
to play on Todd's
I want to
opinion?
finish my
Go
point.
ahead, let Todd
What
finish,
I
and then go
was
ahead, Nas.
saying, okay, if Stacey can shut up with her Trump supporting self. What I was saying last week was I didn't blame all of those people at the Capitol for what some of them did. And this is a transition. Some of those people were ignorant, and Aguna said they were willfully ignorant. I don't know. Some would like, I don't know, but I know that they all did not commit crimes just because they were there. They're only the people that went in that building knowing they weren't supposed to, breaking down the doors and the windows. As Stephen and Keith agreed, that was a crime and they should not have done that. So
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
the
Go ahead,
point I
Nas,
was
because I
making
don't know what
is
your point
how
is.
Israel
Now
is
he's going to
bombing.
Israel. We're talking about Representative Bowman, and he's going to Israel.
Okay,
We
all
haven't
right.
gone to
I'll
that
wait. All
subject
right,
yet, Cousin Todd.
all right.
Thank you, Nas. He has.
Still,
He wants to deflect.
still
Yeah.
people in jail.
Well, no. I mean, Todd at the beginning of it, he said
Oh,
what
here we
needed to.
go.
He
Here
said
we
what
go.
needed to be said. Of
Here we
course,
go.
he's going to be charged. Of course, his excuse didn't pass the smell test. Everybody knows why he did it. He did it to disrupt the proceedings. Of course, he did it on purpose. This is political gamesmanship, but this is a level beyond that because now you're talking about safety issues in an era where people think about terrorism and what can happen to people. They're not going to take this lightly. So he's got hit with a $1,000 fine. He's not going to do any jail time over this. It's a misdemeanor.
No.
And basically, he set the standard now for what could possibly happen again in a vote where somebody is trying to disrupt proceedings. But do I look at this as this? Like, I wouldn't even have this in the same conversation as the insurrectionists from January 6th. Over 1,000 have been prosecuted. So when you hear these people mouthing the Tucker Carlson nonsense, like I don't even take you serious at this point.
Right.
So
It doesn't matter. It doesn't.
those two things are not analogous. Like
there's still people in the jail cell waiting for a court date after over 1,000 days. It's kangaroo court, and you know it is.
No,
you know it's
that's
not
how
right.
the criminal
They are
justice system
political
works in
prisoners.
America.
They are political. Nothing like this has
they're
happened in
not
America.
political
This is third world country garbage.
No, this is
and
American as
now
hell.
why don't you talk like sports like Todd now? Because you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know anything that's coming out your mouth. And if
I
you
know
do,
exactly
and if
what's
you're
coming out my
lying, then
mouth.
you're a liar.
You just
But if
don't know
you're ignorant,
anything.
either way,
You say the
you're
same
useless.
thing every week.
Either
This is
way, you're
boring.
useless.
You do the
There's
same
people that are
perfect
not getting their
routine every week.
constitutional,
You're boring.
God-given rights rotting
Every
in
week
prison.
you tell us
They're
about how
rotting in
you're
jail
right
and haven't even
and
been to court
everybody else
yet.
is wrong.
You gonna cry about it?
And he
hey,
repeats
Todd,
himself
Todd,
over and
Hey,
over
Todd,
and
you
wait a
gonna
over.
minute.
cry?
They're in
Stacey, let me
jail.
say
They're
this.
in jail.
There's a
Wait a
guy
minute,
that
wait a
got
minute, wait a minute.
22 years in jail, Todd. He never went in the Capitol,
They're in jail.
Todd.
They're
He
political
got
prisoners. They're in
No,
jail.
no,
Shut
no,
up, Todd. What are you,
They're in
hold
5
jail.
on,
years
They're
old,
Stacy.
political
Todd?
prisoners.
You're 5 years old. A guy got
That's your
22
Hold on,
years
You
Stacy.
in
keep
prison,
repeating
and
yourself.
he
I
wasn't
was
at the
speaking.
Capitol,
Let's leave
Todd.
him finish.
Todd, why
All
don't
right,
somebody
okay.
put Todd in his
It
place
wasn't
then?
his turn.
Todd shouldn't be up here at
It
the
wasn't
adult
his
table.
turn. What do you mean let him finish?
Todd, no.
All
I'm gonna
right,
make
I
my
did
point.
let him finish.
There's
Papa
a
Smurf
guy got
started
22
talking
years and he
in his
wasn't there.
usual
Todd said people
nonsense,
should be prosecuted who went in the Capitol. He got 22
and
years
they
and
were,
he wasn't even nowhere
and they
near the
were,
No,
Capitol.
he just
and they
Okay,
Now
were.
planned
you
the whole
explain it to
thing.
me.
all
You're
right,
full of
Stephen.
crap,
Okay,
Todd.
He
These are
planned the
political
whole
prisoners,
thing.
Todd.
They're
okay, thank you,
Not
political
Stephen.
prisoners,
who.
Todd. Shut
Yeah, if
Okay,
up,
it was your
and then
people, you'd be
idiot.
upset too. If it was people that are just
Your
God
Everybody
fearing,
people,
was
God
he's
loving,
black.
people.
these are good
Everybody was
Dog.
people.
people.
These
Shut
people.
up.
You shut up. Wait, what are you sitting in the dark? What are you sitting in the dark? You didn't
What
pay
are
your
you
electric
sitting
bill?
in the dark?
What did they put you
Didn't
back in
pay the
jail when you did the
electric
show?
bill?
Where did they put you back in jail when they
Did
saw
they
you did
put
the
you
show?
back
Now you
in
got to do it from
jail?
your phone again?
Hold on, let's
all right,
everybody be
excuse me.
quiet. Let's see if he can make a joke that lands. Let's be
No,
quiet. Go ahead.
it won't happen.
Finish your
All right,
statement.
now
All
I
right,
want
that's
to
it.
show we have
Yeah.
comments from
You
someone that says
red-faced
you gotta
moron.
love
I don't know
YouTube says
what your face looks
live,
like because you're scared to show it.
You
live,
just saw me
LOL.
last week. Like, damn, you just lie all the time.
Go
No,
ahead,
you're scared to
Stacy.
show it tonight.
Suntan
Why aren't you
lotion
showing it
is
tonight?
Hey guys, I
$3.99.
want to hear the comment. I want to hear the
What do you get?
comment.
Excuse
Go ahead,
me,
Stacy.
Suntan
excuse
lotion
me,
is
stop,
$3.99.
stop, stop, stop,
You
stop,
put it on your
stop,
face.
please
It
stop.
you know.
We want
Nah,
to hear.
stop,
We
stop,
want to hear this.
nah.
Oh, look. Now Stacy's saying,
I want to
stop,
hear
stop,
Stacy.
stop. Before she was
The
giggly and
comments,
laughing because she's
You
a
know
Trump
she got to
supporter.
protect that boy.
Yeah.
Todd, stop calling my name.
Well,
Okay, so you gotta love
you
YouTube
got to
says
get off of
live,
Stephen,
LOL.
Stacy, because Angela might think you and Stephen have a little something going on.
And no, we don't
Behind
have
Everything
Steve's
is
anything
back.
going
lies,
on.
Todd.
All he
We don't
does is
have
talk about
anything
Angela.
going
I'm
Can we
not
on.
gonna
get
tell
to
her to
the
I
watch
have
the
other
comment?
show.
Todd,
Paint
Can we
your
get to
Todd, I
the
face,
have
comment,
other
clown.
Stacy?
plans.
Paint your face, clown.
Can we get to the comment, please?
Stephen
Go ahead,
said,
Stacy.
all he does is talk about Angela.
Go
That's all
ahead,
he talks
Stacy.
about.
That's
Brought it up
all he
before.
talks about.
You guys are not disciplined.
I
You're
just,
not disciplining
You're not.
yourself.
And
You're
you
not.
have
You're
to.
not. Stop talking.
I
Stop
know they're a bunch of
talking. Stop
kindergartners, man.
talking.
They're a bunch of
Now,
kindergartners.
and then you gotta love YouTube says keep it real, Todd.
All right.
And then IW says Stacy needs a mute button.
Yes. Thank
I was using a mute button, but what happens is StreamYard has it so that I use the mute button. Any of the contributors can take themselves. They can hit the mute
Unmute.
button off. They can turn it off. They can unmute it, even though I mute it. So
Yeah.
the StreamYard gives them control.
What do you
So
get
it becomes
freedom,
out of my
Stacy?
control.
You don't want us to have the freedom.
See, that's why I like when you were on Zoom. But anyway, all right.
All right, so let's move on. I want to move
We
on
should sell
to
ad space on Keith's forehead. We could put a big ad up there for any
Isn't it
company
funny? He
that
can't
wants
show
to
his face,
spend
but
on
he
this
wants to
little
make
stuff.
fun of how everybody
He
looks.
can't show his
What a
face.
punk! You're
He
such a little
can't show
punk.
his face.
And you're such a little baby.
He's such a
You are
baby.
such a little punk. You make fun of people the way they
Suntan
look, and you
lotion
ain't
is
got the balls to show
$3.99.
your face. Yeah, put it on both of them
$3.99.
for you. You ain't got
My
the
make
balls.
God.
fun
You
of
ain't got
how
no
I
room to
look.
talk.
Woo.
You ain't got no
Woo.
room to say nothing because your ass ain't here.
I ain't here.
Okay, thank you. Thank
He
you.
gets mad and turns into Cajun man.
Come
He
on.
ain't here.
You
All
ain't
right,
here.
let's talk about Mark Meadows. Mark Meadows, Donald
Keith,
Trump's
why are you
former chief
laughing?
of staff.
You're laughing
He
at
don't know.
Steve.
He just laugh. You know, he don't know.
Todd, stop. Mark Meadows, former chief of staff to former President
Lay
Donald
off the
Trump,
vodka.
did an immunity deal
Delicious.
in the Trump case in New York.
Man, that man drinking
Cousin
vodka
Todd,
like that? God.
Cousin Todd,
Okay.
is it odd or strange that Mark Meadows would do this immunity deal?
No, they're all doing the immunity deal. What was his lawyer's name? The woman who's a whack job. That I didn't call her a whack job. That's what Fox News called her.
Jenna Ellis or
no.
the Kraken
No.
lady?
No, she
No,
just got probation. She just got probation.
no.
6
Yes,
months
that's a
or 6
sweetheart.
years.
It's not 6 months. It's
6
6 years,
6 years. I meant.
and $6,000 or $10,000.
I can't remember.
That's a
Maybe.
sweetheart deal, and
No,
that
sweetheart
means
deal is pulling the alarm and getting $1,000
no.
fine.
Listen to me carefully. That means she's going to tell on Trump everything she knows,
What does she know?
and that's scary. Not only
That's not
all
scary
the
because she probably doesn't know but so much.
Right.
Sum it up so I can get the keys.
no, that was she was in all the meetings. They don't give you those kind of deals for nothing. You have to be telling. Same thing with Mark Meadows.
Todd
They're
would know
all going to
because Todd's a
talk.
rat. Todd would know because Todd's a rat.
Okay. Now, see that kind of nonsense doesn't phase me
Yeah,
at
that should
all.
have been
A
muted, but
rat.
you know.
A rat. What is a rat? Do you
Somebody
think I would ever
squeals.
take the fall for you? Never. I would tell everything.
I know we're not on
So
the same team. You can't rat me out. We're not on the same team.
no, you could say that twice
I did.
or 3 times. Yeah, because you repeat yourself all the time.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
okay, excuse me, Todd, you got to stop.
Oh,
Oh my
If
listen to
God.
you look
her.
at this
She never tells the whack job
abcnews.com,
to stop. Only
Right.
me.
Did you forget to take your Ritalin?
excuse me, October 24th,
Yeah.
abcnews.com, Meadows said Trump was dishonest on election night, according to sources. This was written by Catherine Faulders, Mike
Mm-mm.
Levin, and Alexander Mallon on October 24th at 6:11 p.m. He has now taken a plea deal. Keith,
What
what
does
does
this
that
mean for
mean
Trump?
Well,
because
let's
of Trump?
see. He was dishonest on election night. What? We had 2 weeks of elections. What is he talking about? Um,
Oh, he'll fill
anyway,
you in.
we've been electing for 2 weeks. We had the election was open for 2 weeks. What does he mean? Does he mean on the last night of election? Is that what he means? I just want to be
What it
clear.
means is Trump lied over
Anyway,
and over and over again.
the whole
That's why
idea,
you believe the election was stolen because
this whole
Trump
thing of
told you
attacking
the election
Trump,
was stolen.
the way they attack me, attack us, MAGA, attack conservatives, all of this stuff is going to come to an end one day. And
Real
I
thing.
just know that God is watching. I have faith that God is
Okay,
watching and
good
he
for you.
sees and knows the
Now,
truth. God sees it all and we will all answer to it.
okay, let me say this. I
This
just want to say
country
this real
will
quick.
answer to
Did
Oh
this
you
man.
know the
disgrace,
election that Trump won?
unjust.
The election that Trump won, Trump said it was rigged until he found
Yes,
out he won. Then he said,
yes.
"Oh no, it wasn't rigged." Yuck, 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 yuck.
No, Hillary
No, it
said
Okay,
it
was
was
rigged.
rigged.
Stephen, excuse me, Stephen, if you look at the screen, it says the sources said, according to that article I just quoted from, the sources said Meadows informed Smith's team that he repeatedly told Trump in the weeks after the 2020 presidential election that the allegations, I'm sorry, of significant voting fraud coming to them were baseless. A striking break from Trump's prolific rhetoric regarding the election. Furthermore, according to the sources, Meadows also told the federal investigators Trump was being dishonest with the public when he first claimed to have won the election only hours after polls closed on November 3rd, 2020, before final results were in. What does that say about former President Trump's character, Keith?
Well, first of all, we have to prove that he was wrong, and they never did
They
because
did.
of the fact that they would not check to see those laws that were changed at the last minute during the election were changed unconstitutionally.
Do you
They
scratch
were
your
not
head
done
when you
by the
lie?
legislature. They were done by commissioners and by other administrators. They were changing laws in the midstream of the election. That can be proven, but they won't accept it. So that's where we are. The country won't accept it because the establishment won't accept it. So we'll just have to see how the truth comes out later. God will
Yeah.
make sure
Okay.
that it comes
Yeah,
out.
Okay,
Stacy,
excuse me,
Stacy,
Nas.
yeah,
Nas, I have a
let me get
question for
in.
you. I have a question for you. Can I ask you a question? My question is, if you look at this quote, Meadows said, "Obviously, we didn't win." A source quoted Meadows as telling Smith's team in hindsight. Trump has called Meadows one of the former president's closest and highest ranking aides in the White House, a special friend and a great chief of staff as good as it gets. So how can Keith and Stephen say that Meadows was lying?
Well,
I didn't say he was lying.
when
I
you
never got to
buy
speak on it.
when you buy into a con man, you always have to continue to hold the line. That's the difficulty of most Trump supporters, where they're looking at evidence, staring them in the face, and they're going to have to figure out some type of way to lie around it. Keith started to sermonize and somehow started talking about God as if that had something to do with the conversation we were having. That's his get out of jail free card. Now, Stephen, I'm sure, is going to take an opposite route and say that everybody else is lying and only Trump is
They're
telling the truth.
evil.
But ultimately, what this does is Meadows, who Trump has spoken highly of, what this does is it shows the legitimacy he has in speaking about these matters where he was present for them. And it takes away one of the defense maneuvers that Trump was trying to use, where they were saying, look, he believed that he actually did win and
Because
nobody
his
was
people
telling
kept
him
telling
anything
right.
different. And now we're finding out, no, he was actually told that night that not only what was he doing was incorrect, but it was also illegal. And then you have to understand
No, it's not.
the strategy that was used here. Basically, he knew a lot of the mail-in ballots were in different states where he would not win. These were not Trump-friendly areas. So if he could get out ahead of the election being called and say, oh, well, they're cheating, before those votes are tallied, he can make it appear as if all of a sudden they changed the election, when in all reality, he was a dead dog from day one. The MAGA base is not big enough to hold national sway. They really overestimated the importance of the 2016 election, where Hillary Clinton was just as unpopular as him, and that allowed him to glide in certain states where he could never carry those states on his own, as we saw in Georgia and these other states that are typically Republican strongholds that have now gone purple because of Trump's unpopularity. So he was never going to win this election. And again, when people say, well, you think Joe Biden got all those votes? Well, you got to understand, most of those people were not voting for Joe Biden. They were voting against Donald Trump. It was a condemnation of his 4 years of service. And Mark Meadows coming out and kind of blowing up the case on his lie about, well, he believed in his heart that he was winning. No, he actually had the information that he knew he was losing. And he was using this as a grift against his silly supporters who continue to fund his criminal campaign and many activities as we see him go from courthouse to courthouse.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. I'm going to give you an opportunity to respond. Go ahead, Stephen.
Where is this court case being held? What city?
New York.
New
Oh,
York.
Georgia.
Oh, Georgia. Oh, Georgia. But Georgia was a cheated state as well. Of course they cheated there.
You know,
But the thing is,
so many
these
court
guys
cases.
and the judge.
Trump
This is
has
the
so
judge.
many
Wait a
court
minute.
cases. Which one are you referring to?
There's so many. Okay.
Florida.
There's so many. But
Florida, where
these
he
people
won.
are doing plea deals.
Georgia,
Listen.
where he won.
She asked me, listen, plea deal. It's got plea deal. You have to, because it's kangaroo court. These people are going to be treated poorly. Anybody that has to do with Trump, when you have people that are in high places that are corrupt, the judge is corrupt, the system is corrupt right now.
Everybody's corrupt.
Judges, believe it or not, judges can be corrupt. Judges can be political. Believe it or not, judges can be corrupt sometimes. Judges can be corrupt. So the people say, I don't want to go to jail for 10 years. I'll say anything you want. I'll play. It's kangaroo court.
Oh,
you got me. A guy got 22 years and wasn't even at the Capitol. 22 years. I don't care who you are or what he did. There's no reason in the world anybody on here could say that man should have got 22 years in jail. If you do,
I'm going to
your
try
head
and
so far
explain it.
but
I'm going to
there's
try
no
and
way.
explain
Nobody
it.
on this show thinks that man should got 22 years.
If he can
Nobody.
shut up, I'll explain why he got 22
I don't
years.
care what you say. There's no explanation. I don't want to hear your word salad. I don't want to hear you talk about sports or this that you're either going to lie about or you know nothing about. These people are being treated wrong. Anybody that has anything to do with Trump is being destroyed. Look at my pillow guy or anybody else. Anybody that has anything to do with Trump are being destroyed by the left. By media, by big tech. Big tech shuts everybody down.
Stephen, I'll let you respond.
Yeah, thanks. You know, we all know it's fake. We all know they just don't want Trump to run. And nothing you can say is gonna, because you're full of crap. Good night.
Cousin Todd.
Okay. Now, what I was going to say to that babbling person
That
was
baboon?
was this. Um, if you know anything about mob bosses don't do much killing. They send dum-dums like you to do it, and they tell you who to get rid of. And so you go and do his bidding. And so this is what happened. He didn't have to show up. He planned the whole thing. And so he got in trouble for what he did. You know, the court system is used to be fair, you thought. And so once they put now, and mind you, he's not white, so I don't know what your problem is. He's just another coon in jail for you. So when you break the law, you go to jail. And so he broke the law, he went to jail. You cannot uh, commit insurrection and not go to jail. So I wanted to explain. Well, that's all right. I want to move on because Stephen and Keith are both like sleep. They feel
Okay.
like if anybody goes against, it's corrupt. If you go against Trump, you're corrupt. If you say anything about Trump, you're corrupt. But I'm a never Trumper, huh?
Okay.
These are
Thank
courts of
you.
law going strictly by the book. And
I want to talk about. Okay, you can't go on for the whole show, cousin Todd.
evidence, you have to have evidence. And that's what they have, evidence. Unlike the Trump, the election was stolen, no evidence.
Okay, thank you.
And you
Yeah, there's
believe it was
evidence.
stolen because he told you it was stolen
The
over and
evidence is
over
the
and
fact that the
over
laws
again.
were changed unconstitutionally, not by the legislature,
Keith,
but
why
by
were those
the
laws changed?
commissioners. Not only were laws changed, but
Keith,
they were
Keith,
changed due
why
to
were
COVID.
those laws changed? Exactly.
Because of COVID.
So,
Because of COVID.
so an unprecedented pandemic
100 year
happens, and
That's
we
right.
have to
pandemic
figure out a way around it to still
That's
have our
right.
natural
That's
election
right.
cycle.
to
Correct?
That's right.
vote
That's what
So
without
happened.
dying.
these
That's what happened.
states voted to put these measures in. Do you know who controlled the
The
legislatures in
states did not.
Wisconsin?
No, they did not. The states did not. You're lying. You
Sir,
are a
sir.
liar.
So who do you think changed? Okay, so who changed those procedures?
The commissioners and the voting, the people of the governor of one state, I think that was Georgia, and then other states where the commissioners of the voting commissioners and panels, all of those administrators, they changed different laws. It's there.
Exactly. Which is what? Under their rule. Now let's move to this.
No, it's
The
supposed to be
state
under the state.
legislate the
The
state
Constitution says.
legislatures, the state legislatures in those states, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Georgia, and I think Arizona, the disputed states. What are those? What is the political party of those state legislatures? What is the majority political party in those state legislatures?
Probably a Democrat.
That is incorrect. They are all Republican. Brad
Pennsylvania.
Raffensperger in Georgia, Pennsylvania, I can't think of the name, and
Okay,
Wisconsin has
if
been
that is
Republican
true,
since 2007. That
okay,
is
so
true.
if you're right about that, then they are still unlawful, even if it's a
Okay, I
No,
gotta
Republican.
move on.
we
We gotta
just
do our round
explained
table.
those powers are enumerated under their office. So yes,
All right,
it's
I'm sorry.
correct.
We have to move on. We have to move on. We're going to do our round table.
Yeah,
So
you
we're
can
going to
point
hit a
at that
couple
all
of
you want
things.
to, and that's not big enough for anybody to see.
Well,
So
it says the
let me,
Congress shall have the
we're going to
power
do our round table.
to enforce the article by appropriate legislation. The Congress shall have the power. Congress shall have the power. Okay,
Correct.
so
Because
that's
they
Except in
are
the
talking about
a
the
case
le-
of
20.
that's because they are a legislative body and they're
That's
supposed to have
right.
the power to
That's
legislate.
right. That's
Correct.
right. But it
except
That's
in
wasn't
the
Which is what
case
Congress.
of a
happened.
It was the
pandemic.
states. It was
Which is
not
what
Congress.
happened.
It was the states that did it. Okay.
okay. Thank you. I got to move on. This is our round table. What I'm going to do is share my screen, and I want you to. We're going to go around, and you're going to comment on what you see on the screen. So I'll start with this. We'll start with Keith. Uh, your comments on the murder charge reinstated against Philadelphia police officer who shot Eddie
Let's get it.
Irizarry in his car. A Philadelphia judge reinstated 7 charges against this former officer.
Okay.
Well, what is there to comment? All right.
Okay, let
What
me
is
go
your
to the next one. I'll go to the next one.
go?
Comment on this one. New York judge suggests Trump again violated his gag order. The judge said he didn't want anyone killed, so he fined former President Trump $10,000.
He didn't want anyone
Because
killed. What
he
what
was
did he mean?
disparaging. Give
What
the
did he mean by
backstory.
that? What did he mean
Go
by
ahead.
that? He didn't want anyone killed. Did Trump say did Trump urge someone to be killed or what?
No,
What did
he
he
did
say?
not.
Okay, so what did he actually say? What
So
what
the
did he
judge overseeing, he made a comment, and the judge said, "Hey, I think you're making a comment about my staff." And he said, "No." Donald Trump said, "No, I was making the comment about Cohen and Cohen's testimony." And the judge said, "I don't believe you."
Oh man.
And so the judge slapped him
Nitpicky.
with a $10,000 fine.
Well, nitpicky stuff. I mean, what is it going to change? I mean, we need to get on with the country's business. But
Yeah,
anyway.
Okay,
so
let me go
again,
on to the next
we're
one.
a rule of law country until it's somebody you like, and then it's
Well,
whatever.
no, I mean Trump
Then
is
it's all
Trump.
flippant.
Trump
Then
is about
he's pointing at
he's
congressional record.
Trump
Now
is
he's
in
talking about it's just
Trump is
whatever.
in more trouble than he can be than anybody can ever be in, and I
Okay,
don't even
then
know why they haven't
okay,
arrested him.
then Keith, look at this. Some 2
This
dozen
is
service
sad.
members were wounded in a drone and rocket attack on U.S. bases in Iraq and Syria last week. Your comment?
In Iraq and Syria. Okay, well, we need to fight back and just we need to hit them hard. That's my comment.
So
Okay,
World War
and
III.
then
That's right. That's right. Just like
Mhm.
Israel needs to hit them back and stop telling
then
Israel to stand down. We need to stop
okay,
telling Israel
speaking
to
of
stand down.
Israel and Hamas, the State
Well,
Department
Then
issued.
why?
hold on. Let's get
No, no, no,
everybody's
no. This is
commentary.
his
Let's not
roundtable.
just go with
No,
this
no, no, no,
letter.
no. No, he is then, and then you're next, and then Cousin Todd. I'm going to do the same thing for everyone. State Department issues global travel warning for Americans as Gaza awaits aid that has not come yet. Keith?
Well, the State Department issues global travel. Okay, that's a good, wise thing. We should also be concerned about what's happening in the country since the borders are open. So we need to all arm ourselves and be ready. And we need to stand ready and not be like Israel when they were overcome. Most of the people in their residence were overcome because they were not armed. And Israel has a disarming policy for their people, but
No, they do
we
not. The
don't.
majority of
Oh
Israeli
yeah, they were
citizens
not
are armed.
armed,
They were
sir.
actually
They were not
pass
armed,
out
sir.
machine guns
No,
in Israel.
no,
And the other
no.
part,
Not
and
until after they were
this
attacked.
gets stupid.
Then the
Wait,
people were taken
This is
out
Nas,
of
where it
their
gets
Nas,
stupid.
homes.
Nas,
No,
stop.
Nas is
Let him finish,
incorrect.
Nas. Let him
Nas,
finish,
Right.
and then you're next. You're
you're
next. Go ahead.
incorrect, Nas.
Keith,
The
Keith,
people,
Keith,
This is a
you got I got
misinformation
another
show.
one.
yeah,
Now,
That's what this show is.
not
fired, look at
misinformation.
this. Fired Michigan State football coach Mel Tucker was found to have sexually harassed rape survivor and violate schools policy. Your comments.
Well, throw the book at him if he was found, if it was proven, and he was convicted. Well, do what they have to do.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
But
Now,
Nas is wrong.
Nas,
Shut up.
Nas is wrong.
the first comment I have on the screen. Can you see the murder charge?
Yeah, I mean, this is a good thing. This shows what grassroots activism can do and people putting pressure on their government to get things right. Do I think this will be settled in a reasonable or just manner? No, but people are going to push for as much as they can get as far as justice. When we're talking about the police, it's hard to get justice in America, especially in a place like Philadelphia. So, salute to the activists and the many people, the journalists and everybody else who's kept fighting in that case.
Okay, thank you. New York judge today suggests Trump again violated the gag order.
Yeah, so this is the difficulty of representing Trump, and this is why so many lawyers have quit, and people don't want to be associated with him because not only does he tarnish and trash his own reputation, but he trashes yours, and he doesn't take legal counsel. So when you tell him, look, if you say X, Y, and Z out there, it's going to lead to trouble in this way. Don't do it. And what happens? They put a microphone in front of him, and he does it every time, or he posts on his failing social media site, and everybody can see it. And there we go. Yeah, clap,
right.
Dolphin.
And then um, some 2 dozen service members were wounded in drone and rocket attacks in U.S. bases in Iraq and Syria last week.
Yeah, this is why big stories have global implications. When things happen, the magnitude that we're seeing go on in Gaza, you're going to see situations like this. So, yes, terrible that those service members were hurt. But the question I would ask most Americans is, do we need a ship in every ocean? Do we need a base in 163 countries? Are we actually the evil empire? The fact that we are the ones cohabitating on other people's land seems kind of fishy that we seem to be always in the midst of what can happen as far as blowback because we seem to occupy a lot of land out here.
Okay, State Department issues global travel warning for Americans.
Yeah, I would say why not? Like, yeah, I think most people would know this already, and you would have a difficult time getting into Gaza anyway. It's not like you can, hey, I'm gonna catch a flight, I'm gonna go over there down to Gaza. Like, you'd have to be a
No, but they're
really
saying wherever you go, especially if you go to the Middle East.
well, that's just typical fear mongering. Americans are so full of fear and panic. You can give them stuff like this, and they will always think somebody's out to get them. There are people right now who are convinced that Hamas is waiting outside their house to come get them. It's nonsense. And to the point Keith attempted to make about Israeli citizens not being armed, that's nonsense. That is one of the most armed citizenries in the world, almost close to the Swedish people out there. So yes, they are armed. We actually have video of machine guns being distributed to citizens. Now, in a kibbutz, which is a different situation than the normal Israeli living arrangement, yes, they wouldn't be as armed. But the difficulty in this conversation is because Keith doesn't read and Keith doesn't listen to anything outside of Tucker Carlson, he would know this. But the majority of those people who were shot were actually shot by the Israeli army. Hamas was trying to take those people hostage. And the idea was do not negotiate with terrorists. And they opened fire. And the forensic evidence and the journalistic evidence that is coming out now is showing that the majority of these people, matter of fact, we have 2 American witnesses who were let go who actually said that very thing, that they were trapped inside with Hamas and the Israeli army was outside and fired upon them. So Keith, learn to read, have less teeth, and fix your hairline.
Okay, now Michigan State coach Mel Tucker.
Yeah, we talked about this. We all like, look, it's pretty tough. Like she didn't go for the criminal investigation, which I wish she would have. It would have been a more honest arbiter dealing with this because ultimately Michigan State was not trying to pay that dude all of the money. So of course they were going to rule in favor. But honestly, I do think he overstepped. This was a person who clearly has been through some trauma already. And for Mel Tucker, who was at the time on the outs with his wife, they were having some problems. For him to have a personal relationship with her, no matter what, that was inappropriate. So how that relationship unfolded between them two, he should have never put himself in that position. So I feel bad for Mel Tucker in the sense that his career is probably over, but man, he was irresponsible and may have been a predator. So yeah.
Thank you. Cousin Todd, this screen in front of you. You're on mute. Let me see. You're on mute.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Cousin
I
Todd.
agree that was inappropriate, that
What,
relationship.
for the murder charge? Okay, you're going the other way. Let me go the other
never
way
mind.
then.
Never mind. I can wherever you want. I thought you
Yes,
just wanted me to
murder
pick up where
charge.
he left off.
No. I had the screen.
Okay.
Are you looking at the screen? Can you read? If you could read.
Well, Keith can, and you don't say nothing to him.
Resisting. Okay. Reinstated the murder charge. Reinstated the murder charge. I don't think that judge ever should have thrown out those charges, especially when you know the backstory of the report that this police officer gave was that the victim attacked him with a knife, jumped out of the car and attacked him with a knife, which is why he shot him. Then you see footage of the man never getting out of his car. So, though I don't know if it was premeditated, but to drop all charges, that was ridiculous. And I'm glad they reinstated those charges.
Thank you. New York judge.
And though, and like Nas said, though it won't be a fair trial, what they usually do is just give the family a lot of money. And that's usually how that's done. And then maybe few years of jail time for the
Okay,
officer.
thank you. Move on.
I'm
We're
gonna
out of
say
time.
5
Move on.
years. You told me to move
Okay.
on, but nobody else. Okay.
New York judge suggests, come on, keep it moving. You can't
I
talk all
can't.
night.
I cannot see this.
The New York judge
Okay,
suggests
Trump.
Trump again violated the
Okay.
gag order.
Yes, he
And
did. He did, and he should be punished. You cannot disobey a judge. And Stephen and Keith would say that. And I know that for a fact because Stephen, Keith's boyfriend, used to say
stop
about,
saying it's his boyfriend. He
oh,
told you
sorry,
he's married and
sorry,
he does
sorry.
not, don't refer to him in that way.
Okay, boy toy, whatever you want.
Stop saying that,
Okay.
Todd.
Oh, all right, whatever you want to call them. But
Just stop.
anyway, um, they were saying about that. I forget this man's name who was shot by racist white people. One was an ex-cop, and he was being chased in
Hurry
trucks
up.
because he went into a house that was being built just to look around, just like they did.
Ahmaud
So
Arbery.
Ahmaud Arbery. And Stephen said, somebody got a gun pointed at you. You do what they tell you to do. They tell you to get on the ground, then you get on the ground. So
That was a bad impression of Stephen. Let's
so
move on
so
to the next
a-
thing because you
anyway,
can't go on all day. We're out of time. We're gonna just get
you
cut off because you
he
don't stop.
disobeyed the judge, so he got what he should have gotten. Fined.
Oof, okay, now this one.
I
I'll
cannot
read it.
see
Some
that.
2 dozen service members were wounded in drone and rocket attacks on U.S. bases in Iraq and Syria last week.
Yeah. And you can't be all over the world when this kind of conflicts are going on. They take that opportunity to attack you. Though I must, well, I'll add this other part
Yeah,
in later.
thank you. Now, State Department issues global travel warning for Americans as Gaza awaits more aid. You can add it in now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just common sense to be careful. Stay out of these places that are like war zones. But I want to say that Israel wants to have a ground war, which they're putting off now, which I don't think they should do that. I mean, I don't think they should go in on a ground war. Now, I think it was horrible what Hamas did. That was just horrible. But when you're uh, retaliating, you're killing a lot of innocent people, women, children. And they had nothing to do with the conflict. They're not Hamas. They're the Palestinian innocent people.
Okay, thank
So,
you. We got to move on. Make it quick.
so
Sum
that
it
would
up.
be okay. Go ahead. Go because for some reason now you're just like this. Except when the quacks start, then you just sit back and laugh. Go ahead.
No, I'll sit back and laugh now. Fired Michigan State football coach Mel Tucker did sexually harass rape survivor and violate schools policy investigation fines, and that came out today.
Right. That's what I started with. The
Yes, you did.
relationship was inappropriate. Um, and I hate it too that his career is over. The punishment should fit the crime, but yet it never does. Uh, he's just done for. I don't think he should do jail time per se because to me, now the evidence has not all come out, but I thought it was kind of consensual. In my mind, it was just an affair, but the power dynamic does come
She
into
said it
play.
was not. She said it was not a consensual affair, but anyway.
We'll have to we'll follow the court case and see. That's to be determined.
All right.
He said, she
So,
said.
all right, to our first responders in our communities, you make our lives livable. Thank you, thank you, thank you to the women and men of the U.S. military. We thank you for all that you do in sacrificing your lives getting attacked in those bases. We are forever indebted because of what you do. We are allowed to say whatever we choose on this show.
No, the
On
civil
behalf,
rights movement allowed me to say what I want to say. The women's
Mm-hmm.
suffrage movement, the workers' rights movement, those are the people.
wait, you just can't come in the middle. You can't just come in the middle of my thing and say that. You got
Sorry
to
about
wait
that,
until I
man.
stop.
Sorry about that, man.
Yeah, well, you
on
got to
behalf
wrap
of
it up,
Aguna,
Stacy. Hurry up. Come on, get it over
on
with.
behalf of on behalf of Aguna, the Nigerian moderate Republican, Stephen, the independent thinker, Keith, the constitutional conservative, and my cousin Todd. Thank you,
Wait,
Nas, for
you're
joining us.
not putting the
I'm
camera
Stacey
on any of
Johnson.
these people.
Because I gotta wrap it up, wrap it up, wrap it up. That's what you said. So I'm wrapping it up, wrapping it up, wrapping it up. I'm Stacey Johnson. Let's keep this conversation. Check us out on Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, X, Stephanie Stallworth, the Flow Television Network. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you again. Good night.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So Naj, you were saying that it wasn't the service members that allowed you to say whatever it is you choose to say. Who was it?
Oh, civil rights movement, women's suffrage movement, workers' rights movements, unions, all of the people in America who fought for all of the things we actually have in this country in a real way, not the military, which is actually an extension of the empire, which has actually caused less freedom for the majority of the world that we were supposedly bringing democracy to. You want evidence? Go look up Smedley Butler, his book, War is a Racket, the great general from early America who talked about what we did in Latin America and Africa and these other nations where we were supposedly bringing them democracy.
Well, and it's a farce anyway from the start because it was segregated. How can you have a military that's segregated?
Indeed.
So,
Well,
we have to
Yeah.
thank them for sacrificing their lives while they're
I
out there
don't.
doing it.
Whoa.
and then
You hear
let's
that?
how about this?
Yeah.
Well, that's
Did you
what your
hear
boy
that,
Trump
Stacey?
said. Your boy Trump is
Wow.
quoted as saying that those people
They're
are
suckers.
losers and suckers for signing up. That's what your boy Trump said. And you still support him. So why you clutching pearls now?
Oh my gosh.
Nah,
I
what's the
What?
tell
You
problem with
mad at
Trump saying?
Trump?
You guys, Stephen is right. You guys are full of lies and all kinds of speculations. But I just wanted to say,
I just gave a
Stacey,
source. Can you
Lies.
give one?
you can always, Stacey, you can also look up, because I know they won't, but you can also look up in the Washington Examiner. Washington Examiner.
The Washington
it's, the
Examiner is
title of
not
that.
a paper. Oh my God.
Yeah.
No
see?
wonder
See?
you're a moron.
See?
That's
See?
not a newspaper. Oh
See?
my God.
Anyway, the Washington Examiner talks about how gun ownership in Israel could have been stalled by, they could have stalled the Hamas violence had they been owners of guns at the time of the violence in October 7th. I'm not talking about after the effect. I'm talking about before.
So again,
you
because this
are
person
incorrect.
doesn't know anything. So when we
You don't know anything, and
I'm
you are
sure
speculating.
you think so. Washington Examiner.
You are a
subscriber.
propagandist.
Yeah,
A propagandist who has all
and all
kinds
you
of
can do is
knowledge
shout because you
on
don't
the
know
left.
anything,
That's
and I
all
can
you
correct
have.
you. Yep.
Stephen is
All right.
actually
So
Go ahead and
So
finish.
what did you want to say? So
You
what
see
did you
how he
want to
trying to
say?
run out the clock because he don't want
No,
my
Stephen
response?
is right about you.
Okay, you said that
really,
twice
Yeah,
now.
but go ahead. Go
You
ahead.
said that twice. Okay, so October 7th, the event that happens when we're talking about Hamas bringing terrorism. Now, when you talk about that in an open way and don't include that, what happens in West Gaza? Those people live in an open air prison. Those people are subject to genocide. And when you do that to people, eventually there's gonna be some blowback. We've saw that all over the world, all throughout history. So when you present this story as if, well, if they were just armed, think no, if they would stop committing genocide, the Hamas arm of the Palestinians wouldn't be empowered in a way and wouldn't be able to commit the things that they did. That's the other part. Like you
So
can't
you're
have this.
saying the
You can't
civilians?
have this conversation
So
midstream.
the Israeli civilians are committing genocide? Is that what you're saying? Why are
No.
they attacking the civilians, women and children, cutting off the heads of children?
Yeah,
Why
none of
did
that happened. See, this is what I mean. When you're uninformed and you believe things,
All
yeah.
right, now we're
Yeah.
getting down to it.
So
Okay.
Stacy, was
None of
there a
that
correction? Was there a
Wow.
correction on the babies
There
decapitated story?
there was a correction in President Biden's from the White House. The White House issued a correction saying that
The
President
New York
Biden
He didn't
Times,
had
New
gotten
see
York
that
Post,
any
information.
every
evidence.
media station that ran it.
He had gotten that information from Netanyahu.
Yes.
Netanyahu told him that he had not actually seen
But
it. That was the correction.
Wow.
No, I'm talking about every publication that ran with that story initially had to come back and retract that story because it wasn't true. But when you're spreading propaganda, the initial
Oh.
part, people don't see.
Oh, you mean like
they
the,
don't
you
see
mean
the
like the
correction.
hospital? You mean
So-
like the hospital? that
Yeah,
was
yeah,
supposedly
yeah. Thank you for
destroyed?
taking me to my next point.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
hospital that was destroyed, that story had a retraction as
standing.
well.
And the hospital's still standing. Oh boy.
And those people are still dead. What are you talking about?
The hospital's still standing. The
I
parking
think
lot.
I think
You
the
know
part you
what?
don't
We didn't
understand.
talk
I think
about-
you think these are two competing armies.
No,
and we're
didn't-
talking
the
about
parking lot.
a modern
The parking
army
lot was
against
destroyed.
civilians. I don't think you
Anybody in
understand
the-
this.
Well, anybody in the parking lot. There were civilians in the parking lot.
No,
It was
no,
destroyed.
the people in the hospital were killed. They have the doctors giving testimony about it. They actually showed the bodies.
Oh
Well,
my
I'm
God.
sorry you're
Steve,
The
misinformed.
what are
building is
you
standing.
watching? Stay off the
Look,
dark web.
But the
Washington
And you
building has
Examiner.
not
can't
been,
live with Tucker
the
Carlson.
building is still standing. Why is the building standing?
Okay, so if the
Why
building
is
is
the hospital
standing,
still there?
but the people are dead, like what is your argument that it didn't happen?
Well, the argument is
Or-
that they went
what are you
into the
making?
hospital. Yes, Hamas went, foot soldiers must have gone into the hospital and killed them. But that wasn't Israelites. That wasn't Israel soldiers.
No, that didn't happen. They died from the explosion, Keith. No soldiers
What,
went in
wait,
there.
the
These
explosion
aren't
on the
bullet
outside and
wounds.
kill. Look, okay.
These
That's
aren't
it.
bullet
We're done.
wounds.
So let
We're
me show
done.
you the
Yeah,
screen.
we are done.
This is
Yeah, I'll
excuse
see
me.
you
This is
Idiot.
Reuters. This is Reuters.com. Gaza
Damn.
families wear ID bracelets to avoid burial in
Oh my
mass
God.
graves.
Yeah.
And why is Israel attacking South Gaza after telling people to go there?
Ooh,
Does anyone
yeah.
want to comment on that?
What this is where we get into the real meat and bones of the whole conversation. Netanyahu has been open about this for years. You can kind of read some of his commentary over the years. They want to continue to settle that land and displace those people. And this gives them the perfect opportunity to do this. This is the old Rahm Emanuel. Let no good opportunity go to waste. And they're going to use this to settle more land and remove more Palestinians. This is ultimately genocide. They're committing war crimes against those people.
So Israel's doing that, right?
Correct.
Is that what you said? Okay.
All
All
right.
right.
Thank you. We are out of time. Great show. Good night.
All right, everybody. Next week, we'll see it again.
You feel better?